Well, hello and welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath, and in this episode we are talking about Richard and Mortimer, Rick and Morty, Season 5. There are two Blu-ray versions of this that are just hitting the street. Rick and Morty Season 5 has arrived. You see what I did there? There's a standard version, standard Blu-ray packaging, that is $29.98, suggested retail price. There is the Steelbook version, which is $39.99, suggested retail price. And this is the Steelbook version, of course. And I know there's a lot of Steelbook collectors out there, and you're going to want to know what this looks like before you get it, before you slap your money down on the counter. You know what? I'm not going to bury the lead. Here's the back of the Steelbook. You know what? In a second, I'm going to show you the inside of the Steelbook, too. Why make you wait? What if I talked for 10 minutes and I showed it at the very end of the video? No, thank you. So here is the full-on... the spread eagle Rick and Morty Steelbook for Season 5. Of course, the artwork is an homage to the Decoys episode. If you haven't seen the season, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Even the disc art itself, which is going to be hard to show because it's just super, it's just basically silver. Maybe if I point it straight up. You can kind of see that, right? It's the whiteboard of the plan for the Decoys episode. Here we go. Flip it around. There's the inside of the Steelbook. So you have now seen the Steelbook, and you can now judge if you want to spend your money on the Steelbook. But I want to talk a little bit about Rick and Morty Season 5. Love Rick and Morty. It's an interesting show to talk about. It's also like, is this a fool's task? Because so many people, it's like a hugely successful show. Who doesn't know about Rick and Morty? But my job as a reviewer is to talk about it for those that don't know what Rick and Morty is. So it's a science fiction comedy cartoon made for adults. It airs on Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. And it is super for adults. It is not like the concepts, the language, the relationships. It is for adults. It's not a children's show. But it has these incredible, hard science fiction concepts. To simplify them, like time travel and alternate realities, and like going back to the future, going back to the past changes the future and creates diversions and worms. Like so much pure hardcore sci-fi that has been the playing ground of like writers for 75 years or more. They're playing in a massive, very intelligent science fiction sandbox, but it is all treated so irreverently and with such disdain, it's the mix of the high and the low, and the two balance each other out just perfectly. And the sensibilities of Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, who are the creators of the show. So Dan Harmon is the guy from Community, which assumes, here's the thing about Community, here's the thing about Rick and Morty too. Dan Harmon assumes that you know the rules for how a TV show works. He does not hold your hand. He goes, you know how TV works, right? You've been watching it all your life. Okay, let's break that. And then he just continues to subvert and to destroy all the cliches. Like he plays with the cliches and then destroys them. And it's amazing. And the writing is just off the charts. Season 5 in particular did some crazy cool things. We got the backstory of Rick finally. Like a canonical origin story for Rick, or the beginning of one at least. And there's a ton of special features. That's one of the things that I want to talk to you guys. I've got my notes here with the specifics. So included, you know what? Let me show you this. You know how every Steelbook comes with like the O. They call this a J card, right? Because it makes a J. Yeah, see? So here's the J card that came with it. I'll let you look at this for just a second. But it's got a lot of special features here. But I wanted to... It's a lot of quality. I'm sorry, it's a lot of quantity, but they're very short except for one item. So it's 10 episodes, special features. Let's do this. Let's dive into the special features. So the first one that I want to talk to you guys about is Fighting Gravity, the making of Season 5. That is exclusive to the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray set, I guess if there's the DVD set as well, it's going to be exclusive for the disc. It's the only extra that is listed here that is exclusive to this set. I guess the rest are going to be on YouTube or on the streaming versions, the digital versions, whatever, what have you. It's 9 minutes and 16 seconds. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate. Because, we talk a lot about how special features these days, they're just like poof, and then they're gone. And a lot of the stuff here is pretty poofy. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's a 10 episodes here, right? There are introductions for every single episode on the set. So that sounds like a lot, but these introductions run for less than 2 minutes each. And it's the writers done over like Zoom on their cell phones being like, oh yeah, and so in the episode of Morty Plicity, well, I can't believe, that was really crazy the way, it's that sort of a thing. They're not really telling you anything. So I'm used to that, right? I know what I'm getting into. So I'm watching the Fighting Gravity special feature, the making of season 5, and it was conducted over Zoom on phones. Everybody's in a separate room. It is so honest and it is so real, and there's so much like genuine emotion and like pain. It's so human, and I love it because I was not expecting it. Dan Harmon seems like a fairly irreverent guy, and he really gets honest. And he said something that I wrote down here because he was like, because they're talking about like they've made it to season 5 without doing any like origin story, without doing a canon for Rick and Morty. It's a modular show, meaning you can come into an episode, watch it, and leave. And if that's your first episode, you know everything you need to know. And if you never come back, you've lost nothing. It's not like a mythology-based show. But then they talk about how, like, and again, I hope I'm not spoiling anything. This is all on special features. They talk about how when you create a show that you love so much and that the fans love so much, it comes to a point where you are doing a disservice to not develop that backstory. You kind of have to. So it is, they liken it, I think Dan Harmon himself likens it to, by the way, Justin Roiland is not on any of these special features. It's Dan Harmon. He's like the voice here. When the writers and producers and stuff like that. But he says like, gravity keeps bringing you down, and gravity is necessary. You have to understand gravity, but it becomes your enemy when you want to fly. And that's the way he describes the show. But they do like finally start creating a mythology. And he says, I wrote it down, that Rick and Morty is too fun to be taken seriously and too serious to be this fun. And he's like, how did we end up with something that strikes this perfect balance where because it is so fun, but then it veers into like real sadness and trauma and like genuine emotion. And they talk to one of the writers about this monologue that he writes, and like it came from a real place of pandemic pain where he's sitting on his couch and he's just like pouring his heart out into the character of Mr. Poopy Butthole. And it's amazing. So what did he say again? So it's too fun to be taken seriously and too serious to be this fun. I think that's beautiful. So that is 9 minutes and 16 seconds. B Story Generator Volume 1 is 3 minutes and 4 seconds. There is a box of different colored post-it notes with B story ideas. You have your A story. Here's how television works, kids. You've got your A story scene. You've got your B story. Your B story happens in the background of the A story, and sometimes they weave in and out together. So have it on my desk by 5 o'clock, see, chum. So B stories, they've got a whole box full of just like Summer brings a mannequin to life with an amulet, like that kind of a thing. Just on post-it notes. So when they need a B story, they just pull a post-it note. And so they're going through the B stories. So it's 3 minutes and 4 seconds. And then B Story Generator Volume 2 is 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Backgrounds, that's a 2.5 minute feature on the backgrounds of like the digital backgrounds that they create for each episode. The scenery, right? Because you animate over the backgrounds. You'd have your characters doing stuff in the foreground and the background, right? So one of the things that I was surprised to learn is that there are some episodes have 200 backgrounds in each episode. I was like, what? 2 minutes and 22 seconds, animation and composition. So compositing. So they're talking about crafting the show's visuals is a complex process. The crew shows you how they actually like create everything and composite it together. 2 minutes and 22 seconds for the animation. Oh no, we just did that. 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Coloring Rick and Morty, the importance of color in the animation process. Directing Mortyplicity, that's the decoy episode. That's 2 minutes. They talk about how they directed it, what they wanted from the episode. Directing Rick Murai Jack, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Again, they're talking about directing the finale, like what they wanted out of the finale, why it was a special tonight on a very special episode of Rick and Morty. Season 5 hype. That is it's a very puffy thing. It's a minute and 52 seconds where they're just talking about like here's what's coming up in season 5. So no spoilers. It was a hype piece, right? But it's included here for posterity. I'm going to hold this up for you guys. The special features are uncensored. There's actually a warning on the packaging about like, this is Basically, I think it's for maybe for the retailers. Like, don't stick this in the children's section. This is not a kid's show. I think everybody knows that, but it continues to amaze me what I find in the kids section at like Target. I'm like, that should not be here. So this does come with a digital code, and that's going to do it for Rick and Morty Season 5. I continue to be impressed with this show. It continues to break new ground and not repeat itself and just do the same thing. The fact that they did, one of my favorite episodes from Season 1 is the interdimensional cable episode. And you could tell with Season 2, they kind of tried to do something else like that, and it didn't necessarily work. And so they just reinvent themselves for they do a new special episode each season without trying to do that thing again. And I love that about it. For those also wondering, my favorite moment aside from the origin story stuff, Punch My Lunch, the board game. I love Punch My Lunch. It's one of my favorite things. Will that become a real board game? It would be amazing if it did. Rick and Morty Season 5. This is a Steelbook version. I'm going to put links to where you can buy this in the description of this video, probably in the comments too, so that if you see this and if you want this and you click those links, you're supporting Cereal at Midnight. You are sending a message that you appreciate this coverage, and you are, we get a few cents for those purchases. And that'd be really awesome of you guys if you want to buy it to use those links. So thank you very much. I appreciate you tremendously. So take care. Until next time, here's where to go and what to do.